record this, and I'm going to say that I really need like 50 screens. I need like at least 10 to 20 $50,000 computers. I need like maybe quantum computers, supercomputers. I need to do some calculations, and I need to do some stuff that I think is really necessary. And I think it can really, I think scaling and amplifying things, and inserting and exerting and using data, and combining and using novel things in novel ways. I don't know if electricity is the future. I don't know. I think something new is going to come. I really believe that's going to come, but I can't say what it is or what it's going to be. But something's going to come. There's like a new form of energy, maybe. I don't know. How does I am thinking a lot about structures and layers of the physical universe, and how everything is frequencies and vibrations and waves. And I think in another video that I am going to upload, I said something about like mass being density, the mass dense like the earth, or how mass and becomes dense and creates a density, and that the density is wave frequencies. And now I'm kind of in the scope of thinking about sound. How does sound relate to the rest of quantum physics? Like, did we develop sound the ability to hear and comprehend sound waves based on what is that? Is that an evolutionary trait, because we can only hear certain things, and certain sounds are certain vibrations, and they go down to the submolecular level. So to whatever, like how is it, what is it that we are attuned to hearing, and how is it that we are part of this universe, and that we are like we are the universe. We are not separate from it. We are our internal structures are the same thing, and that are the basis of the entirety of the universe, of plants, animals, of everything else. And we are molecularly structured into quantum consciousness or quantum neurology. And at what level does that stop? Is quantum just what we know now, and is there going to be an entirely new substructure of reality that is even deeper? And how do those things influence? And there's probably, are we going to, and how far are we going to be capable of learning all that stuff and condensing it, and then how well are we ever going to really comprehend the universe to a high level? Because we always have to condense everything down into smaller and smaller ideas and subscales, and but do we ever really know what the universe is all about? I don't know. Like, are we, how aware can we ever be, and how far can we ever go? I am currently thinking like sound, electromagnetic radiation, sound is just a frequency. When I make impacts on a surface, a sound is emitted, and the sound is the collision between a whole set of atoms on a large scale that then create a frequency. And why does it is sound? So it's waves again, like everything is waves and particles, and then it becomes another type of wave, but there's no, technically nothing that is really being dispersed. So what is sound exactly? Like, it's wind, it is the vibration of impact. It is the vibration of impact, and we create music through sound by oscillating it and creating waves and structures, arithmetic, and I'm not currently going to question why we do that in particularly. Why are we? Well, we are a structuring species, so we structure things. We like to structure things, and structuring things, it becomes pleasant to us. But what I am asking is, what is sound? What is sound? So it's waves coming into our ears, and we developed sounds in order to hear because we are part of our environment, and we need to structure ourselves and our consciousness within the environment and adapt to the environment, and then we have the adaptation, our evolutionary adaptations. How? Because I still have like problems structuring my thought in a coherent way, because I am trying to stitch ends together and stitch together the things that I know or that I'm learning about, and I'm thinking, I am thinking, I am thinking, what am I thinking? I am thinking something. Sound, vibration, so quantum level, photons, quarks, electrons, going atoms, going up and up and up, and then that all converges into Newtonian physics, into the easier first subset of understanding the universe, how things move. This goes back and forth, it's moving velocity, it has a certain mass, whatever, but then we go down, and then there's Einstein, energy is mass times acceleration squared. So mass, so it's but this again, is Einstein a simplification? It's a simplification too, right? Is mass actually an equivalent to energy? Well, mass times acceleration. Everything is always accelerating. There's not, you can stand still, but you're not technically standing still. The universe is expanding, so you're moving with the universe, and there's always energy. But so if mass and energy are related, then are we in the universe? So a mass has energy, energy and mass, energy. So the Earth is a very, very energy dense mass, and we are part of the Earth. We are part of its mass, we are part of its energy, and we are kind of like when you look at the sun, you see the solar flames. We are just mathematical descriptions of the thing that is happening on top of the Earth, where the energy on top of the Earth is dispersing into the outer cosmos. But we do that in a kind of organic way. But when I say organic, I mean organic in a different way than how we describe organisms as ourselves, or just creatures and being. We in an organic way, as in a transform. I don't think it's a Lagrangian transform. I'm going to look you up. Lagrangian mechanics. I mean more in like if you look at the solar flare, it looks very much like a fractal or like a golden ratio type deal. But when I say a fractal or a golden ratio type deal, I don't mean it's more like a certain Art Nouveau-ish type of thing that you see in, well, you see it in plants and stuff as well. You see it in the golden ratio, but the golden ratio is just the description of something going in a spiral towards its center point. But in nature you also have a different pattern that is much more like yeah, something like this maybe. Euler's Lagrange equation and Hamilton's principle. For a non-conservative force which depends on velocity, it may be possible to find a potential energy function V that depends on position and velocity if the generalized forces Q can be derived from the potential V, such as Qj is d over dt omega V over omega Q j omega V over omega. I'm kind of mumbling omega because I keep switching the notations up. Is it omega? Delta. Is this a delta? It doesn't matter because it just refers to what it refers to, right? It doesn't matter that I'm speaking. Well, I have to kind of, if someone's listening and they're like, oh, omega. This is not omega, I think. But it's kind of more like this. Well, this is kind of not. It's not like what I mean. It kind of more goes like in this spiral. You see it in plant, in what is the lean, in vines, certain vines. This is a word that I never ever used in English, so I have to kind of, maybe Spanish. Is this Spanish, dude? Dutch? Where am I going to? Oh, that might be copyrighted. I'm sorry. Okay, great. I can't even find the Dutch word for it, so it's like a fucking Bing. I bet. Look. What? Am I writing this wrong? I can't find him. I can't even find him. Okay, great. But you know, some type of, you see it in some certain types of botanical things, but also in the flames of the solar flames of the sun. And so what I was getting at is that you see those things and they're creating the same mathematical patterns. I think in essence there's a very, very large amount of patterns that nature evolves to, but they're always going to kind of happen in more or less the same ways because they're all based on the physics of the universe. So they're always going to have similar structures up to a point, of course, and we can only comprehend structures from our 3D point of view, but we are on top of the earth and we are just things growing out of the earth because we are the dissipation of energy out of the mass density of the earth. The earth is a very dense compact thing, and it's a formation of a whole bunch of stuff that then starts to transform you from magma and iron and this and that and all the other things that are impacting the earth, and then coinciding with it, just binding into it, and then it dissipates out of the end. We are the energy dissipating out of the earth. We are the amalgamation of the dissipate, and we are then being separated. And the reason that we're going out of the earth is literally because we're just the same pattern. If you look at the sun and you have the solar flares, they're just mathematical patterns being beamed out of the sun because of the things that are the inherent thing that is going on in the sun. They're the same thing, but we're just a different a different pattern of it, or a different subcategory, a different, there's a word for it, a different variation. We are a different variation of the same thing happening on every planet, on every mass. We are just a variation of what is possible on given in certain circumstances being forced upon a certain mass density, or but then now I have to start thinking, well, then once you know that, well, can you go further than that? Like, is there a possibility of going further than that thing? How is it that we are dispersed? I don't want to think, or I should maybe not exclude the idea of us just being, we think of ourselves as something different than a larva or a parasite, but really we are not. In fact, if you look at humans, we even have the same color as a larva. We have the same desires, needs, functions of that. And we are just an organism. We are just another organism, but we are another organism at a larger scale. And from what we look at, if we look at organisms that are smaller, we see that they might not be as intelligent as we are. Because of the structure, but we are essentially doing the same thing as like an ant or whatever does it. But when we look at an ant, they aren't really adopting any sort of technology. They kind of just know what they need to do. Maybe they have some way of communicating with each other and saying like how they need to structure and build things on what they know. but they don't build technologies. They don't build things to communicate faster with one another, even though you could say that in some variations they do in a certain way. Maybe you would have like an insect or something that has like a plasmic, that creates plasmic structures that then create or make energy traverse, because that's an idea that we have of like bioengineering to create technologies that are based on biology. So basically what we would start doing is creating like entire civilizations or whatever that are just like structured with a web of biomaterial. But how we do it now is with electricity and with metal. And because we do it with electricity and metal, it breaks much faster. If you can do that with biological or anything biologically related, anything bio structure, that might reduce substantially the energy being lost due to breakage, because an organism can always repair itself. It reduces times of needing to repair things, but then the question becomes, is it possible to conduct high frequencies of electricity through um, uh, something biological, and doing it in such a way that it's actually safe, so you don't touch the biological organism and then you're just electrocuted because it's under electricity all the time, and if it's biological then it might fry, of course, and it might be a whole bunch of other problems. But then on the other hand, if you can make the information go faster than how we do it now, without with less energy, and or a different way of dissipating energy, it's more biological. It's more based on the transmittance of something molecular, or, well, if you can create energy with photons, and photons are just like tiny energy particles, then it should be possible. If you given the photons, I think a photon itself is not very electrostatic. It's not going to be, if a single photon doesn't electrocute you. I am right now being beamed photons on my body at a very high pace, at very high levels, at very high frequencies, because they're just all around me, from the sun, even though there's not much sun out there right now, from the light shining behind me, from the screens in front of me. Everywhere photons are being propelled towards me, and I am likely, since I am made out of energy and energy is flowing through my body is filled with photons as well, because that's just part of the... I am an organism that can dissipate energy levels at a very high frequency, but then, yeah, from my brain to my body, it's almost instantaneously. A large network or bio, yeah. I lost my trail of thought. I think I was saying waves. Okay, water is like a less dense frequency of waves. The earth is a very dense. Yeah, metals are like very dense. What's the... I should look up what the densest part of anything. And is that really... does that reflect also in how much energy you can get out of a certain material? If metal is really dense in energy, can I create more energy out of something that is metal? Or that should stand to reason that I can create more energy out of something that has metal in it than something that is water, or water molecules, or interesting. I'm going to leave it here because I'm losing my trail of thought right now.